we saw a very important change in trend over the course of this past week to 10 days. And China is negotiating as though it believes it holds the cards. We don't have real conflict resolution, and we don't have real trade agreements. We have temporary ceasefires, and that means that the dial can be turned back up again at any time.
We should keep in mind that there are a number of areas of the economy that are actually weak and potentially continuing to weaken. The most important are the housing market and the labor market. Rather than returning to US exceptionalism, right now we are in that gray zone where parts of the economy are doing tremendously well and other parts are really, really weakening.
The other thing I'd like to mention in this sort of European space is the Nexperia problem, which I think is critical through a couple of lenses, and that's a supply chain problem, but it's also going to seriously impact an already beleaguered European auto industry.
The US is no longer financing the war effort and saying it's over to the Europeans to do so. That's what's forced the Europeans, therefore, to go and take a much closer look at what's in Euroclear. Do I think this is still live and kicking despite Belgian and other potential objections? Yes, I do. Do I think European leaders will probably get there in December or soon after? Yeah, probably, but it'll be complex.
Below radar or in the midst of the active kinetic conflicts that we have in the Middle East and between Russia and Ukraine is a real expansion of the use of hard power, the willingness to use it, and a almost continuous effort to test boundaries and reaction function. Because it's not translating into a market signal, this is being ignored.
And I like to refer to it these days as Trumpocracy risks. It combines the idea that we have many aspects of governance that are traditionally more associated with autocracies that are going to be much more relevant for the US going forward.
Trump in Sharm el-Sheikh, when dealing with the Gaza conflict, specifically singles out Viktor Orban, for praise and solidarity and saying he's my man. So lots of tensions in Europe on this, and lots of hopes from Vladimir Putin that the divide and rule strategy in the European Union can be aided and abetted by the Americans, who are not up for supplying the financing, but appear to support many of the same people in Eastern Europe as Vladimir does.
We had a couple of incidents in the South China Sea in the last week. An F-18 Super Hornet, which is the main aircraft on the battle fleets that Trump has in the South China Sea, and in the same week another U.S. aircraft, this time a helicopter, went down. I'm interested in it because they haven't there's no conclusion yet, but 2 in a week seems a little bit interesting.
We now have more U.S. naval assets deployed in the Caribbean close to Venezuela at any point since the Cuban Missile Crisis. Now, does that mean the US wants to go to war? No, it's geopolitical signaling. But there's so much of it about right now.